So while this is getting on, we're live on Facebook. Yeah, well, and I'll let you know at the end, but we do go live on Facebook, and then I'll also make a little video clip for you from
Oh, wow.
the episode on here. So our gift to you for being on the show and being a
Man,
fantastic guest. So
you guys are
Yeah.
high
yeah,
tech. I love it.
Yeah.
and I just added to my repertoire. I paid for the service to do the transcribing, so you'll get a video that's transcribed, and I'm super excited about adding that feature on. So it's like the everyday
Oh,
riches. So if people are listening to us on Facebook right now, that's like some of the everyday riches are just those little tiny things you can get super excited about.
yeah. It
Yeah.
doesn't take much for me, especially with technology. It's like high touch, high technology. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, anyways, well, Jason, you're talking. Introduce yourself.
Barbara, I learned from last week when you had technology issues that I like you introducing us much, much better. I was like, I was kind of lost. I knew Jason and Adam so well because they're my clients. And I'm like, where do we start? I'm so used to Barbara starting this off.
Okay, well, yeah, welcome everybody. This is the Everyday Riches Show, because you know what? It is all about what Jason just said. It's the everyday riches, those little things that just light your fire, that set you up, that get you up in the morning. And for me, I'm on a mission to make happiness the norm rather than the exception. And part of happiness is having influence and having impact, but also to be able to earn income, because we all deserve and want to live happy, healthy, financially free, abundant lives. And that's what this show is all about, is bringing people on, having great conversations about all the things that goes into, because everything that you want is within health, wealth, or happiness. And I love bringing on, and that's how I found Jason. We just hit it off, that he feels the same way. And it is so nice when you have people that your values are in alignment.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
the key.
Yeah, so key, values and alignment. But we've discussed this several times. Everybody has their own superpower. Everybody has their own skill and ability and difference that they bring to the table. So there's alignment, and we're growth minded, but we also have different perspectives, which is another reason why I love our show. Is we've talked about this a few times. Is we bring such different perspectives
Yeah.
between you and
So
I.
who are you?
I am Chase and Tracey. Yeah, yeah. The gracious co-host to be brought along for this ride on Everyday Riches and sharing riches. And I part of even why I do podcasts and or I guest on podcasts. I love helping people tell their story. I love, I think that when people get out there and tell their story, it starts to resonate with how people can have their life transformed by that person. So I love being a part of that.
So I'm going to take a minute to introduce my friend Tony Lucero.
Awesome.
We met in another group and we just hit it off. And I have another show that I do. It's called Barbara and Friends on a Mission. And it was just, I wanted to showcase people who have their big mission. I mean, we all have our businesses that we do, that because we all have to put money on we all have to put bread on the table and have a roof over our heads and that kind of thing. But most of us, I think, really have an ongoing mission of what we want to accomplish in the world. And Tony was my very first guest on my Barbara and Friends on a Mission show, because we just aligned and we were talking about just all about that, how we're all connected and how we can all impact and how we can all join forces and to make the world a better place. So Tony, I am so grateful. Thank you. Welcome to the Everyday Riches Show.
I'm honored. Actually, my smile is actually hurting. I've been smiling the whole time. I know we were talking for a few moments, before we went live, and I just love when I feel like old friends are coming together. And that's what it felt like, the moment I met you, Barb, is you're contagious, you're infectious, your smile, your passion for becoming a better version of yourself every day, and sharing that with the world, sharing those gifts with the world. Like that's what we're here to do, and Jason, same thing with you. I mean, it's like I can just feel your passion in what you're doing and what you're creating, and where your heart's at. And that's the big thing, is like where your heart's at right now, people. And you guys, I know we're all dialed in. That's why we attracted each other. So I'm honored to be on your show. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm so intrigued. I don't know much about you other than the little introduction that Barb gave as we were meeting. So what is your passion? What difference are you making in the world?
Yeah, for me, my whole path for the last, well, since I've been on this planet is just about discovery. I feel like I'm like Marco Polo. I was kind of the kid who always liked to be doing things outside, traveling. As I've gotten older, I don't like to sit still, so I feel like I'm like this traveler that's on this journey. And this journey is to, for me, is to figure out how can I like live up to all these beautiful gifts that I've been giving. Like, how can I hone in, my ability to smile, my ability to make choice, my ability to be happy? Like, what can I do to stay in that space? So for me, it's been a journey of how do I do that? And so for a while, I was in business. I had a couple very successful businesses. I've been a comedy stage hypnotist for about 7 years. So I traveled around the country doing crazy hypnosis shows. And like every 7 years, I kind of reinvent myself. I was in a touring band for a few years in a rock band. And now this last clip that I'm in right now, it's all about me taking all this wisdom and all this knowledge and all this information and downloads, upgrades, whatever you want to call it, that I've been getting over the last 15, 20 years, and then sharing that, like teaching that, and honoring all the lessons that I've learned along the way and being able to help people on their path, whatever it is. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm in the space of just providing wisdom and knowledge based on true life experiences, not on stuff that I've read, but actually going through a really crazy, crazy life. So that's what I'm doing.
That's the best way to teach people is that stuff that it's your life experiences. It's not what you read in a book. It's not what you heard from somebody else saying it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I get inspired by books. Don't I mean I love
Sure,
reading.
yeah.
I mean, obviously, but for me, it's like I asked on a podcast that I did, like, hey Tony, what's the best book you've ever read? And I've actually written a book myself, and I was thinking, well, the best book I've ever read, not to like toot my own horn, but it's the one that I wrote because it's the one that I lived. It was the one that I got to experience. It's the one that had my heart like poured into it. So, that's kind of like for me, it's like my story. Jason, you were saying our stories,
Right.
facts tell, stories sell. And we all have a best-selling novel, a major motion picture in us. It's just a matter if we're going to
Yes.
share that story.
Yes. Yeah. And there are people that say, I don't have a story or I don't know how to tell a story. And I love just like opening them up by asking them a couple of questions. And then they get so passionate. It's like, yeah, that right there, that one.
Right.
That's the story right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Or
remember that time?
yeah, or they're so afraid of what are people going to think?
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are the
Oh, for sure.
I
Yeah.
think one of my favorite sayings that if you have thought it at some point in your life, there are somebody else out there that has also had the same thought.
Yeah, they're actually saying that when you have a thought of something, 7 other people across this planet are actually having that exact same thoughts. Like, for example, an idea, like somebody who invented, the paperclip. At that moment, 7 other people somehow were connected and had that same idea. Like, boy, you should create something. And all of a sudden, this guy takes action, and now, his story is now history. And one of those
that's
rags.
key. He took action.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what you have to do. So, yeah, your story will make you a fortune. I think Jim Rohn said that many, many years ago. Your story will make you a fortune.
Right.
So here we are.
And be willing to share it.
Yeah.
That's one of my things. Be willing to share it.
And you kind of said, Barbara, it's like people feel they might not have a story. And if you've overcome adversity in your life, if you survived something and you were part of something that made a shift in something, you've got a story. You've got a story of inspiration. You got a story of hope. You got a story of belief. You got a story of something. And somebody will resonate with that story, I can assure you.
Mhm.
Because somebody's going through that same exact thing. And often they think that they're alone, that they're the only one experiencing that. And they're worried to be ostracized by other people. And then they hear someone like yourself tell that story. And it's like, wow, I can talk to that person.
Yeah. Yeah. I do a lot of coaching, and so people will say, well, you don't understand my story, Tony, you know what I've been through. And they'll say, well, tell me. I'll go, well, what happened? And they go, well, I had a stepfather that did this. I go, I got you because my stepfather's like that. Well, my best friend committed suicide. Well, I have you because my brother at 19 committed suicide. Well, you don't know. I filed bankruptcy. And go, well, I got you because I filed bankruptcy. So these are stories. So we all have these stories that, we hang on to or we let go of. boy, when you let go of them and share them, there's freedom and there's power and there's liberty in that when you do that, you know?
Versus, was there ever a time where you felt that shame of that bankruptcy?
You know, at the time, at the
Yeah.
time that you're going through it, absolutely. You know, you have this like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? No, we're gonna find our way out of this. But the reality is, when you start connecting everything and you realize, hey, you know, I'm not the only one on this planet that has ever had that experience. And I've actually have a lot of my friends who are business people, that are entrepreneurs, that, you know, whatever, something happened and they had to make a decision. In our case, when we made that decision, it was a breath of fresh air, clean slate. We shifted our energy and, you know, went on to make millions with the company. So it's like, you know, sometimes that thing that we're hanging on to binds us, you know, and so we have to share it or tell the story or get it out or release it. And when we do, we're like, ooh, wow, okay, let's go now. All is well. We're free to move out the cabin, you know?
Right. And that's with me when I first realized that, you know, because I had been doing marketing for a company, they got shut down and I lost everything. And same thing, had to declare bankruptcy and tried to do it without telling anybody and tried to do it on my own, dig my way out. And of course, well, that didn't happen. The funny part was the moment of truth for me was when I told my first friend and said, this is where I'm at. I can't believe that this has happened. And this is where I'm at. And she said, well, welcome to my world.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And from then, it's like, you know, the very first time when you get a brand new car and then all of a sudden you see them everywhere.
Reticular activation system. Yep.
That's exactly what happened. I was like, oh yeah, Barb. Yeah, me too. Oh yeah. Oh, me too. Really? Oh yeah, me too. Welcome to my world. And it was just like you just said, Tony, it was a breath of fresh air. It made me feel like I wasn't the only one out there. And that's the thing that I think, like in my case, the devil tries to make you do. They tries to keep you in darkness so that you're not out there and sharing it. Because as soon as you put one little light, as soon as I shared it with one person, then it was like, oh wow. You wouldn't believe how many other people are going through the same thing. And it doesn't have to be a bankruptcy. It can be anything. It can be a divorce. It can be losing a child. It can be, you know, anything, whatever you're going through. If you have done it, chances are there's 7 billion people on this planet. Somebody else is going through the exact same thing at the same time.
Yeah. Yep. We're not that good that we seem to think that, you know, we have the only challenge, you know, with health, with finances, with whatever, right? We all have, you know, it's kind of crazy if you really look at it. If we go through life, it's like there's a script, you know, and it's like, okay, there's going to be this many challenges and you're going to experience maybe some of them, maybe all of them, maybe just a few of them, but no matter what, somewhere along the way, you're going to experience death. You're going to experience sickness. You're going to experience, you know, being down on your luck. You're going to experience a divorce, whatever, right? So it's just a matter, we know that. We just need to know what the play is, that when it happens, we don't mull around in it. I call it mull arounding in your feces, you know, mull arounding in it, that we know, okay, I got to figure a way out of this. What's my solution? And Barbara, my solution was, we attempted to do it myself as well. And I finally said, I'm not doing this. This is more headache. So I just called an attorney and said,
that's what I did.
And next thing you know, I give this guy so much money. He goes, no one's going to bother you anymore. Yeah. We got you. No more letter. And all of a sudden I'm like, wow, court date showed up. He said, this was going to happen. Yeah. Everybody left us alone. We showed, and we just like, why didn't I do that earlier?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Thank you. That was my reaction.
Why didn't you do it earlier?
Why did I try to do it on my own without, because it's the shame. It's that shame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, like Brene Brown always talks about the shame, you know, and how could this have happened? How could you, you know, and all those voices in your head, how could you have been so stupid? And, you know, did you not do enough due diligence of the company? And one of the interesting things was, as this friend, my first friend, and I happened to tell her the name of the company, and I don't broadcast it. And, you know, because anything happens to anybody, you know, on any given day. And she said, really? I said, yeah. And she said, why? I said, why? And she said, well, that makes now it makes something fall into place and make sense. And I said, well, what? She said, you know what? My aunt and uncle, they went from living in $1 million home to a 1-bedroom apartment. And I went, and they were with that company. And I went, oh, wow. I thought I mean, they really lost everything.
Yeah.
And not only just their lifestyle and their prestige. And so I mean, it was like, oh, wow. So yeah, you never know. You never know.
I think what you said, Tony, though, is so key for our listeners listening in, is like, I wish I would have did it sooner.
Yeah.
Because so many people are going through they're getting all the calls right now. They have all that anxiety. They're losing sleep. And then every single thing that I've ever put up on this pedestal, like it was going to be a really hard bridge to cross, it was going to be very difficult. The pain that I was going through was far more difficult than actually taking action to fix it, taking that step to go tell somebody. And then you have that lawyer that eases all of your pain.
Yeah, I mean, I have people I coach. I know, Barb, I know we all coach people, but like I've had people that I've coached, that had the instance back when they were 5 years old, and now they're 47 years old or 30 years old, and they still are holding on or dealing or not accepting whatever happened and willing to let go of that, and they don't know why that their life had certain things along the way that every time they were feeling good, they hit a roadblock, and then they beat through that, and it's because of this thing that they would never want to address, let go of. And so I work with people to say, when you feel something doesn't feel good, like whatever that is. So if I wake up today and I'm, oh my gosh, I'm with Jason, I'm with Barbara today, and all this stuff, I get to share my voice, and I'm in this great mood. All of a sudden, something comes at me, whatever that is. Maybe it's a post on Facebook about numbers or whatever. Bitcoin's not going up, or what? Pick something, right? And I have to, and my superpower, Jason, you were talking about earlier, like my superpower is this power of choice. So I literally, when this thing comes at me and I'm in this great juicy space, I can say right now to this, whatever this is coming at me, go, oh, hold on. And I get to make a choice right there. Do I let this latch on to me, kind of like that alien, back in that, latch up inside me? Or do I go, nope, we're not doing this right now. I'm going to do a couple breaths. I'm going to shift my energy somehow. We're going to pull one of the tools that I've learned how to release that. And I'm just going to walk away from it and not have to face it. Like there was a time I was off Facebook for a while. I got off Facebook because I'd go on there in a great mood, and all of a sudden people are saying, oh my God, thank you for your post, Tony. It made my day, brightened my spirit. I'd scroll down a little bit more, and all of a sudden, blam, there's the post. Did you see what happened in blah, blah today? I'm like, all right, I'm out. I made a choice. I used my superpowers. So use your superpowers, you guys. You don't have to mull around in it. And you know what that is? For any moment of time, unless you decide you want to, like this bankruptcy thing or a relationship thing or a business thing or a partnership thing. You guys, you need to speak your truth, deal with it, and move through it,
right,
with ease and grace.
Right.
I have this image of you being like Neo in the Matrix, where you're like freeze time and then do one of these.
And so I just made a post on my Facebook page, Jason, yesterday, and there's a picture of me. I was making a comment, and I actually used Neo from the Matrix as my image. That's just so awesome. Funny. Wait,
of course,
see how connected we are.
Of course, that's exactly it. It's so crazy, so crazy.
Yeah,
we are so connected.
Yeah, I love it.
That's like one for me is like on the same line is that when you have something happen, we all make mistakes, and we all have things that we do not want to have shouted from the rooftops. Absolutely. Yeah. But you know what? If you have made a mistake, fess up to it, take the heat.
Yeah.
But then let it go. Let it go. Yeah. Don't let it fester. It's so, and I think that message is so underused. People are not talking about it because we are brought up to pick yourself up, like quit belly aching, pick yourself up and go on. So it's like that we have all these whole generations of people that are not either authentic or they're dealing with stuff just because they've been taught that, men don't cry, women don't brag.
That whole line on humble is people take it over this line of almost self-abuse.
Yes. Yes, it's
Yeah, the thing is, it's really crazy. So if we look at what's happened over the last year and a half, right? So we've had this thing, this monster that's been in all of our lives, right? Does it really matter anymore what anybody thinks? I mean, let's just be real. Like if you're holding on to something because, you don't want your neighbors to think a certain way, or you don't want people to judge, like we have to get through this, because this is what got us in this place in the first place. Like running, keeping up with the neighbors, caring what everybody thinks, posting things that aren't real, filters this. Like this is how we got to this place, you guys. It's not just something that all of a sudden, hey, we're going to have this virus going on. Like humanity has been in this space where we've been bringing a lot of energy, and it's not been really positive up to the surface. And here we're now dealing with it. So my recommendation for anybody that's unwilling or doesn't want to because they're still stuck in that place of my ego, which is ego stands for edging greatness out. So if you're going to continue to edge your greatness out, hang on to your ego. Keep wondering how you can get ahead in life and show everybody how amazing you are. Keep doing that. And it's going to be very difficult. Everybody else, though, if this resonates with you, everybody else, just let it go. Let all this stuff go. Let this idea of trying to prove something to your parents, who probably maybe not even on this planet anymore. Maybe your parents aren't even living, but you're still in your mindset, still trying to prove something to your parents. Like, stop the noise, relax, and realize what's the most important thing at the end of the day. Barbara, you said earlier, joy, happiness, abundance in all aspects of your life, right? Smiling, embracing the simple things, gratitude. Like, guys, this is the lesson humanity has to learn right now. And can you make money and be abundant in that space? Yes. Does it really matter if your car or your purses or the amount of shoes you have, your collection, does that really matter anymore? And with what we've all been through, we've got to figure this out. Humanity has to shift and figure this out, right?
I really
That's
resonate.
really, really important.
I really resonate with what you said about the parents thing. And I grew up with a really abusive dad. And for years, I had said the only time I'd ever go see him is when he died. I'd go to his funeral to make sure he was actually dead. And I did.
Wow.
However, like there was a point, the biggest realization I had, because I'm in this victim mindset of holding myself back to my circumstances. I can't do this because I had this abusive dad, or I grew up poor, I ruined my credit at 20, all these different, self-talk shit that I have in my head. And it's like, why do I hate this man so much? He can't even feel it. He's dead. Like, and even if he could feel it, even if he was alive, what does it matter? And let's say he had all this intent to hurt me and damage me. Like, why am I letting him win, even if that was his intent? And then I started realizing that he was actually the victim. I mean, he committed suicide at 43 years old, and he had two great sons that went, like all these different things. And I'm like, I started feeling sorry for him. And that's when I was able to heal and able to go tell my story and go tell other people about it.
Yeah, I'm sorry that happened to you. I had the same thing, and he, even though he's dead, he's living inside you when you're hanging on to that, right? And now, he was a victim, but now by you hanging on to it, that was your choice. So you were your own victim, right?
Yes.
That was something you were causing. When something happens, if somebody got raped when they were a child or whatever, like you're a victim when it happened, yes, and it's grave and it's terrible and it's unfortunate and there's trauma, and I get that, but until you make peace with that, however that is for you, forgiveness, letting it go, you're choosing to be a victim. You're choosing that. You're using that superpower of yours, which is the greatest gift we have, which is the ability to choose. We're the only creatures on the planet that can do this. Animals don't do it. Everything's instinctual, right? With us, I can say, I'm going to be in a bad mood right now. And right now I can take this conversation and make it ugly if I wanted to, right? So if I know that, if I'm hanging on to something, I have to choose. Do I want this feeling? Do I deserve this feeling? Or do I want to move through it? And how you move through it, that's the fun part. That's where you get to go, okay, who do I need to talk to? Who can I be around? What book do I need to read? And that's where you start your journey. And that's where you start to really become a superhero, is when you start doing that. It's applying these things, not just knowing them, but actually applying them and moving through them, and then sharing your story. Like, Jason, I know you're a better man because how many people have heard your story? How many people have been inspired by your story and go, oh my God, that was my dad.
I've had lines, because I speak on the stage, and I'll have lines afterwards of people coming up to me and telling me and sharing to me their story. I had this one guy, and he was heartbreaking. He was in his 50s, and he came up to me and he said, I so resonated with your story. I had the same thing. My mom's husband, my stepdad, was abusing me, except my mom didn't leave, and so it continued up until I was 18 years old, and I left the house, and it completely damaged him. He was like, I wouldn't wish my life on anybody. For me, like, even you saying I'm sorry, I am not sorry. If you would have told me when I was a little kid, it sucked. When I was going
Yeah.
through and I was getting punched in the face and all that kind of stuff, that sucked. But now I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be talking to you. I wouldn't be able to serve my clients the way I serve them. I don't know how my life would have turned out if I didn't have that experience.
Yeah, I hear you, man. That's I've given speeches in front of, that were supposed to be motivational speeches, but I actually would share my story on how I got to be on that stage, and no one cared how much, abundance was coming out of my mouth. What they cared about was, oh my gosh, like the story of his stepfather. I had the same thing. My stepfather was a certain way from the time I was 5 to 11, and I didn't know what love was. He never told me that. I was told that I was worthless, so he told me that. He was really good at that. My mom, same thing, didn't want to leave because that was her security for us. But I get it. Now, though, looking back on it, the person I am today is because I was able to see it for what it was.
Yeah.
I was an actor in a movie. We were doing a movie, and he was this mean guy, and I was this kid, and action, and so and that's how I was able to cope with it. That I felt like I was in a movie. And as I got older, I said, you know what, the only way I'm going to get through my life is I've got to release that. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what forgiveness looks like, but I know I don't want to be unhappy anymore. And so, lo and behold, I started going down that path on how to learn how to do forgiveness. Like, what does that mean to forgive somebody? Right. And then more important, like Jason, what you just said, I had to forgive myself, which was the biggest thing, because when he was doing those things, I would literally say to his face, like, I want you to die.
Yeah.
As a kid, 6 years old, 7 years old, telling a human being that, like, I had to forgive myself for those bad, terrible things, like, hey, I wish you would die right now. I hope you die in your sleep. It's like, I had to forgive myself for that. When I did that, like, opening, freedom, and I've done my part. I've made my peace with it. I did what I needed to do so that I could release that. And then now forgiveness is something I practice every single day, just in whatever it is. Hey, I forgive myself for not being the best version of myself today. Maybe I slacked a little bit today, but I forgive myself for that. And I know tomorrow I'm going to be better,
Right.
Well, so I know at the beginning, before we went on, we talked about you do a lot of work with spiritual work and energy work and stuff like that. And what I notice about a lot of people in this realm, and I'm starting to go down this path and finding my spirituality and stuff like that, my gifts and all that kind of stuff. And in what I'm noticing is people had to go through some kind of crazy, tough experience in order to really unlock their potential.
It is a necessity of life to go through that. I can't imagine being born, never having adversity, having the golden spoon, like having that.
Yeah.
And never really appreciating like the essence of a lesson. You know what I'm saying? Like looking back at the person I am today, the energy I have today, I'm going to be 55 in 2 months. Like this energy I have at 55, like is because of those experiences I had that at the time they were grave, they were heavy, I get it. But I had to have those because now when I speak, I'm speaking just like we all are. We speak from a place of authenticity. Right. I speak from a place of truth. I speak from a place of remembering. I speak from a place of experience. And when I can do that, people go, it becomes believable.
Yeah.
And when it becomes believable for people, now it becomes achievable for people. They go, well, heck, if you had all of that happen to you, suicide and alcoholism, father, and, 2 marriages that got divorced, and this that happened, and that happened, a bad business, and, whatever. A father that died, and I didn't find out for 3 months. So all this stuff, like, you had that? Well, I've got what I got. I had somebody tell me I was fat when I was in high school. And you're hanging on to that? You're hanging on to that? So I got you, I got you. And let me teach you how to overcome whatever that is in your life,
Right. That's like with me, one of the things that I work with women that have lost their spouse. I mean, I lost my husband. I expected to be, 95 and dancing at my great grandchildren's wedding. I didn't expect to be a widow at 60. And realizing after I woke up from the widow's fog that I had no idea who I was. I had absolutely no idea who I was outside of all the labels that I had put on myself of being a daughter and a wife and a mother and then a divorced woman and then a wife again, but then a grandmother, and now I'm a widow.
So you were always somebody else's possession.
I was always somebody else's possession. And then when I was introduced to personality science, I realized that, oh, yike, I am totally different than my entire family, which is why I always felt not quite connected. It's like I love my family and they love me, but we weren't always quite connected. There was a slight disconnect and nothing you could put your finger on. But now I know it. And now people come in to say to me, Barb, you've changed so much. It's not that I've changed. I have just finally come into my own person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after, and it took, but the sad part was in my mind, and one of the things I had to deal with was that it took the death of my husband to find out. And I had to admit, and you talk, Tony, when you talk about you have to forgive yourself, I had to forgive myself for that. That if I had not lost David, I would not be where I am today. I would not know you. I would not be doing this show. I would not be doing anything that I'm doing right now and making a difference in the world, because I would have been David's wife, the children. I would have been their Grammy, Grammy to the kids. And I had to deal with, that was one of the things that I had to, it's like, okay, how can I be grateful that my husband, and the guilt.
Yeah, for sure. Guilt of that thought.
How can I be grateful that my husband died? And yet there was that moment of, number one, relief that I had taken care of him for 2 years and it was not pretty. And so in that moment, and that to deal with that guilt, and then the guilt of, okay, Barbara, David died, you didn't, had that guilt. And then it's like, oh, wow, if David hadn't died, I wouldn't be here where I am now today. And sometimes, dealing with that. So, hey, we all have, it just doesn't matter where it comes from, but the feelings are the same. Of we have to have happiness. It's a choice, because the day I woke up from my widow's fog, it was like, okay, I have a choice. I'm either going to go on or I'm going to sit in this house and die as a person myself. And I know women that have done that. And I shouldn't say just women. I know people that have done that. That it was like they folded up their tents and died because they were just waiting for their body to catch up. And
that was their life. The loss of identity is, I deal with a lot of that with coaching. Like a mother that raises 5 kids and all the kids are out of the house and they're 20, 30, 40 years old. And now the last one leaves the house and you have a mother, that's all she's known. She got married when she was young, perhaps, maybe never worked a job. And now her job or her career, her profession doesn't exist anymore, except when it's convenient for the kids, and now you have this identity crisis, and it's a very difficult place for people to be. I'm not good at anything. Like there's nothing I'm, know how to do. And like, oh my gosh, you are a manager, seriously, like a top high-end manager of the most difficult profession on the planet, which is being a mother, being something for everybody. There's value there, so you have to shift people's, what they're feeling, that frequency that they're tuned into, and turn them back into another one, which is really the truth of who they really are, right? Now the kids are at the house, kind of like you, like, okay, now I can go figure it out what is for me, and let's go. But some people don't do that. Just like when somebody passes, the other spouse usually is on a short clip from being the next person. It's just a matter of time if they decide not to, start living.
Yeah. And I know a couple that her husband passed away, and she just was like, I have nothing to live for, and I think she died like a month later.
Yeah.
How great is that feeling, Tony, to help people live?
Yeah. It's like it's the essence of who we are. I mean, that's when you were put on this planet, we were born perfect. Okay, so we were born in God's eyes, or whatever you believe, we were born perfect. And then something happened along the way. And we all know what that something is. Oh, my father, my mother, I hate okay, whatever. So all we have to do, like what I work people, if you go to my Facebook, it says Tony Lucero and it says parentheses revealer. I'm not a healer, but I'm a revealer. I help people because I've revealed it myself, what the truth is about myself, but I help people reveal the truth about themselves. And I help them remember how perfect they are. So they got to go back to when they were a child, when they used to play and they used to ask the question why all the time. Well, why can't, like, get back to that place, right? So you remember who you were long time ago, but now you're remembering with a different filter because now you have wisdom of things that you don't want to have happen again. Or if they happen again and you're this playful kid, like, so I feel like I'm 8 years old, I'm this playful kid. When something happens, I go, no, you can't hurt me. And that's kind of, I don't say it out loud, but that's kind of what I'm feeling, right? So
Love it.
I help people reveal who they are. And so to give people that second chance of life or their third chance of life, or that fresh breath of air, like, yes, it does feel good. Sometimes it takes a lot of work. Sometimes it's like, teaching somebody how to meditate or teaching somebody how to play an instrument that they just play for 5 minutes and all of a sudden they're playing and they start crying. They have no reason why, that they would start crying when they're playing this thing. I know why, because this thing that you're playing is tuned into your heart, and it's opening up something in your heart. And as you keep playing that, your heart feels love and joy and peace, all those things that you've never received as a kid, like I never did. So that's why when you play that, and so there's so many things that nature and life gives to us that if we would just put our freaking cell phones down, and we would literally, like, not only put them down, but I always teach people how to shut it off. Do you know there's people, Jason and Barbara, that don't even know how to shut their phones off? They don't.
Yeah.
They're sitting there like, well, shoot, I don't know. My kid turned it on, and I don't,
It's been on since it came out of the box. I don't know.
It came on charged out of the box, But that just that exercise for people just to kind of like shift what they've been doing all the time, day in, day out, this routine. I texted Barb and I said, man, people have a one-dimensional life in a three-dimensional world, which means they're locked into doing the same thing over and over. It's one thing. I wake up, I go to my job, I come home, I watch Netflix. I complain at this person, right? I go to bed, I go to job. And that's one-dimensional. In a three-dimensional world, when there's so many things you could be learning, like watching something like this, people are going to learn something, reading a book, learning a new craft, starting a business, creating an organization. There's so many things you can do to live that are so simple that don't cost you anything.
So simple. Yeah.
So simple. Humans make it difficult. Guess who makes it difficult? We do. So when would now be a good time to start simplifying your life? Let's go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes.
Exactly. And it is our choice every day. And I'm going to tell him myself. Yesterday, I came off of a call that was it was kind of one of those that, okay, Barbara, you can do this. And then my verbal mind, my voice was saying, okay, I can do this. But my internal voice was saying, who do you think you are that you think you could possibly do this? And it was one of those. And it was like,
Barbara Ellison, that's who.
Yeah, exactly. And that was exactly what I had to do. But one of the exercises that I do is like that I'm going to share is one of the things that I have found so effective is that when you have a moment like that, where it's like you feel like the voices in your head are screaming at you and having an anxiety and a panic attack, write it down. Just start writing down, and whatever comes out is what you need to look at. And so that's exactly what I did. And now I can go back and read it and go, oh yeah, where did that come from? But then now it's over, because now it's like, oh yeah, I've got an answer for that. And oh yeah, I've got an answer for that. And probably some of those things came from when I was a kid.
Yes.
You ever a certain song or a certain memory that can shift your attitude back, and create that confidence?
Who, me? Oh, yeah.
Either you.
I do, yeah. My theme song is The Space Odyssey from the 2010, The Space Odyssey, because it starts as a rumble. That's me rumbling. And then I'm growing and I'm growing and I'm growing and I'm growing to this crescendo. That's my theme song.
Mine is, so anytime I'd get introduced on stage or whatever, I said, okay, here's what you got to do though. when you play this song, like you guys have been doing great with your sound and everything, it sounds great, and you probably have it, oh, we can't go above number 5 in our volume, otherwise the hotel's going to say something or the arena's going to say something. I said, well, I'm not coming out unless that thing goes to 7 or 8, because my song is so badass that if you want to move this crowd, we're going to do it. So it's been Thunderstruck by AC/DC.
Oh, I love Thunderstruck.
Love it.
At the beginning.
Yeah.
And it just, there's like, 3 minutes of just Angus just doing that and all that. People go nuts. So, but that was my rule, because I know how to shift energy. And if everything sounds the same, feels the same, looks the same, tastes the same, it's probably the same, no matter what I do. So I said, you got to crank it. You got to shift that thing. You got to make sure that people, when I come out, it's not an ego thing. It's like, I got to get these people moving to something different than what's been happening. Right. And so, yeah. So it was always funny. Like, oh God, here comes Tony.
Yeah.
That's super awesome. So does that song have any emotional feels to you, or does it take you back to a certain story or a certain time in your life, or just that pace and tempo?
Yeah, I'm a guitar player, and in the 80s, I believe it was the best music, and I'm sure you guys will agree that too. The 80s, the music was the best. It was fun. It was loud. It was made you cry, made you laugh, made you jam. And that AC/DC was a band that I never saw in when I grew up. In fact, I still haven't seen them to this day live, and I would love to. But there was something about me being a guitar player and that one little lick and the way. Yeah. It's a band, in a band, like every band wants to have like the anthem song, like the song that makes them famous, the song that you hear the first note, like "We Are the Champions" by Queen. Boom, boom. You hear that first pound. Yep. I always want a song like that. That when you first just that guitar, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on, but let's go join the party. Pretty much, So it just created a really good, feel good, energetic like vibe in me to where like, oh my God. I love this song. Hold on, you guys. Everybody quiet real quick. Turn it up, Steve.
Yeah.
And everybody starts going
like this. For me, it makes me move. It's that with a thunderstruck.
Yeah.
And here's me at 70, and I love that song because it gets you up and gets you going.
It does. Do you have one, Jason? What's yours? You got to have a good one.
I have multiple. So I have a few of them for a few different reasons. Welcome to the Jungle is that one that always up tempo. In your face. I love this recent newer song, but I feel like it's my theme song because it's like I feel like it's my life. Is High High Hopes by Panic at the Disco. Great words, great.
I don't know if I've heard it. I gotta listen to it.
I'll send it to you. Yeah.
Please.
High High Hopes, great song. Now an emotional reason, No Sleep Till Brooklyn by the Beastie Boys.
Wow.
In just a quick story, I had a mentor that had beat me in his company was crushing the company that I had went to, and he had won all these awards, and he had me take these awards back with me because I drove to the meeting, and he flew in, and he's like, you can have room in your car, blah blah. And so I set a goal that the next year I was going to beat him in all the awards. In that next year, we were in Indianapolis at the convention, and my company beat him in every single award. I had my whole leadership team with me, and they were playing No Sleep Till Brooklyn as we were standing there with all these gold plaque records that we'd won for the. And so you talk about like the reason what spurred that question is Barbara was talking about I'm having this horrible day. Or if I need supreme confidence, I'm going in to have a conversation that I think is going to be a tough conversation, or I just need to really feel good about myself. I'll put in on No Sleep Till Brooklyn and I'll meditate back to that time, or another time that I have where I have that supreme confidence. I know I feel really good about myself, and it'll take me back no matter what's going on.
Isn't that great how the brain can latch on and give you, just the song can give you the dopamine, the serotonin, the oxytocin, the endorphins, everything can be released into your body just by you remembering that feeling, right? And the same thing on the opposite, when something bad happens, you can have all that drip as well. So the fact that song is your go-to song, like, man, that thing should be all day long, like playing in the background, like say, in this yummy space all day long. It's great.
Right.
So I'm intrigued. You said your book is your favorite book that you've read. I want to know about your book.
Yeah. So here, let me. I'll show it to you real quick.
This is awesome.
So interestingly enough, it's called "How to Give Birth to a Condor." Okay. So there's me, and there's a condor. So it says a guide to discovery. So literally, what it is, this book I wrote probably 9 different times in my life. Everybody says, Tony, you got to write a book. You got to write a book one day. And so I'd sit down, probably like you guys, started writing a book, get 15 pages into it and go, no one's going to read this crap. Like this is,
That's
there's
me all the
no,
way.
there's,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, there's nothing like, okay, it sounds like you've read the book. And I went to Peru. The second time I went to Peru, I came back. I was doing some journey work, and I was working with a shaman in the Amazon, and just loved just doing some really wonderful things. And I came back after 30 days or so being in that beautiful space. I came back and I hugged my wife, and I hugged my kid, my son, and my dog, and I said, "You guys, I'm going to be in my office for a minute." And I was in there for 4 days, and literally 39,860 words or something came out in this book in 4 days. I had an editor who's a friend of mine, and the book was published in like 3 months later. But it literally is a blueprint of everything, kind of what we've talked about, choices. And I talk about my stepfather and the biggest lessons I've learned and how to overcome that. And what's interesting about the book is at the end of each chapter, there's like a workbook. So you have to do something before you get to the next chapter. So everything kind of just fits together. So it's like a blueprint. So by the time you get in with the book, you go, all right, let's go. So it's called How to Give Birth to a Condor, because I found out in Peru that my spirit animal is a condor, and there's a whole story behind what a condor means to the Andean, the Peruvians and things like. It's just the Incas. It's just beautiful. So it's got a spiritual sense to it. It's got practical sense to it, but it's got science in it, and it's just a well-rounded book. It's kind of the book that I'd want to read. You know, if I was, away on an island somewhere with nothing to do, I'd want to read this book. I'll send you a copy, Jason.
I definitely. Oh, that's amazing. I'd love that. I'd love that.
Yeah.
That is incredible. I love how you said, "I'm going to be a minute." And 4 days later, you come out of your room.
My wife, yeah, she was so awesome. She'd knock on the door, because she just honored my space. Like my office now, my door is closed. Like this is my office. Like it's just, I'm busy doing something, right? I could be meditating, I could be writing, I could be working with a client, doesn't matter. But she would knock on the door like this, like that, and go, "Honey, yes. Do you need anything to eat? Water would be nice. Do we have toilet paper?" No, I'm just kidding. No, but water would be nice. And she was just amazing. And then 4 days later it came out, and I go, "I have this book. I don't even know what it's about." Like it just, when you get a download, like we all had downloads, yeah. Like it just came out. And the chapters, the things, I sent it to an editor. There was a few edits, but it was perfect. Like it was weird. It was one of those weird moments where I had to just honor it.
Yeah. I call them instant downloads.
Yes.
Instant downloads, and it's just there.
It's just there. And you're writing, I don't know what this is. You're just going, and all of a sudden you go, "Oh my God, this is a book." And then you look at it and you go, "Oh my gosh, like this is a really good book." So, yeah. I'll get you guys a copy.
You were so it's such an inspiration to me, because I have sat down to write, and I'll write for 15 minutes, an hour or whatever, and I'll have something, and then I'll like kind of squirrel, not even towards the whole imposter syndrome, but like then I'll go and get busy and then not come back to it, and then I'll come back and I'll restart over again, and then I'll find my old notes from like a year ago, and it's like I already had like 2 chapters written. What the heck?
I know. They supposedly you do a little bit every day, so you get locked into that frequency of, okay, I'm gonna write this book, and you do outline the chapters supposedly, and you just do a little bit every single day. I just for whatever reason, like when I landed, I just go, there's something I gotta get out, and I didn't know what it was gonna be. I had my computer, and it just as it started coming out, I'm going, "Oh my gosh, this is gonna be a book. Cool, all right." And then when I read it, said to my editor, he's like, "Dude," and I read it at like a 6th grade reading level, so people that are in the new space of like kind of like you, Jason, where you're kind of like in this spirituality, like just connecting with self and things like that. It resonates with people. Like, "Oh my gosh, that's great. It's not all smoke and mirrors and mystical and all that stuff. It's like, this is what I went through, and this is what happened, and this is here's how I felt when I was going through all of this, and here's how you overcome it." That's
awesome. That's awesome. It's so funny again how the world aligns. I literally posted my podcast, I do a podcast on my own called Coffee and Grit, and literally the first sentence I say on the introduction is, "It's my story, I lived it, so of course I can say it again." And this happened with Jenny Erickson, mutual friend I have with Barbara. I know her because of Barbara, actually. But she was on my podcast, and as I was doing the Zoom, she was halfway through. We were 35 minutes into the interview. She was telling this really emotional story that had me like tears, in my eyes. And then I looked up and I noticed it wasn't recording. And so I had to break it to her that, "Is there any way is there any way we can start over and you could tell all of that over again? And her simple reply was, it's my story. I lived it. And so I can certainly tell it again. And
Yeah.
I think that's so incredible, because so many people, I'll have people on the podcast and they freak out because I don't give them questions beforehand. Every podcast I do is exactly like this. We show up and we just start talking, and whatever comes out is magical.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That's the way it should be. It's for me, it's like I'm as raw and authentic as I can be. So whenever I post a video, I don't have like cool graphics and stuff like that. I'm just, when I do stuff like on whatever, it was just a choice I made, 20 years ago, that if I would create content, like I just want it to be, here's me, here's what it is, and whatever comes out of that, whatever you feel from that, it's going to be pretty real.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go and edit and go, oh, I don't like that, and cut that word out and slice this in and, put music over. Here comes the emotional part. Listen to the music. I didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you do that, Jason, I love it, because I just don't have that. I don't have that band to do that. It's like, I'm just going to say it. And my wife's funny, because I'll say a joke, or I'll something happen. Hey, can you repeat that again? And I go, I can't, because at that moment, it's what came out. The joke that came out, the voice that I did, the mannerism, like that was just, keep the cameras running if you want me, if you want.
That's why I strongly believe in recording everything in client sessions, recording everything, because they'll say a moment of genius and it's like, what did they say? What did they say? That was so genius. Or what did I reflected to them upon something, and I can't remember exactly what I said, because it just came out of my, it just came out. Kind of like Tourette's, it just came out. But then they can go back through that recording, or, so what I do as far as the podcasting goes, and I told you I'll make a clip for you, it's because what I notice is I'm having all these amazing conversations that are an hour long, but not many people are sitting through and listening to that hour long. So I love finding that really impactful 2 minutes, that really impactful minute to 3 minutes that people are going to watch, and put that out there. It's not super edited. It's not like I'm taking out the authenticness, but it's that really like movie trailer that's going to get you to listen to the whole thing.
You're amazing. See, somebody like you, I've always wanted to have a friend like you, because that's beautiful. It's like, how do I take all this stuff and wisdom, knowledge, and condense it to where it's like, well, this is what it is. And people go, oh my gosh, that was so profound what you said at that moment, and stuff like that. I love it. So good for you. It's perfect. That's what we need. I call it
the Tupac method. The Tupac method. So Tupac, right? He's this rapper. He died at 25 years old. 26 years ago, but he still comes out with new music all the time. It's because he created so much content, and then they can splice it and put it however they want and make new songs out of it. I have so many hours of podcasts, so many, whether I've appeared on somebody else's podcast, or it's my own, or it's Now We Do This. So many hours of content. I told my wife one day jokingly, I'm like, I'm going to have so much content that I could die right now, and you could literally post something about me, something every day for the next 26 years, and people wouldn't even know I was dead. Except they'd be like, why isn't he aging?
Yeah. That's like a friend of mine. She does content repurposing. And she said she can take people's podcasts and use it and make a book out of it. Mm-hmm. There's enough content on most people's podcasts to have a book. Have a book. I said, I figure that's going to be one of my things that I'm going to have her do, because now I've gotten lots of shows. I'm doing 3 different shows, and now the one show I do on Tuesdays is now going out to 360 TV and Roku and all of those, and it's like, I'm going to have a book. So
you have a bestseller in you, and your voice is real and authentic, and that's why you're doing what you're doing. So just please. Content is king. It's like
content is king.
One of my mentors said that it's all about the content, and as long as you are truthful and with the right intention, and you're speaking from your heart, people are going to latch onto it, and that's obviously what we're all doing. So it's been beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's awesome when people tell their story, and it's that really emotional part. And I've had people on my podcast just recently. I had a lady, she coaches through horses. She told a story about a little boy with ADHD and anger issues, and my aunt reached out to her, asked me what her contact information was, and reached out to her because her grandson is going through the same thing. And so that story led her to say, I'm in that same situation. I know somebody else that I care about and love that's in that same situation. This person could probably help me too.
Yeah. Yep. And I believe that's why we're all here. We're all here to help each other. You know, number one, help ourselves. So make sure that we are the best version of ourselves. And then with that energy, share ourselves, share our wisdom, share our truth, share our, you know, our nurturing abilities, our speaking abilities, our communication, listening ability, whatever that is. That's what we're here. You know, we're not here to compete all the time and judge all the time. And that's not why we're here. Maybe in the past, but things have changed now, you guys. So we gotta roll with the shift. And otherwise, this life is gonna be very difficult if we do not learn anything in this last year and a half. And you're listening to this, and none of this is making sense to you, or whatever. Then I encourage you to figure out a way to shift that thinking, that stinking thinking, because it's going to continue in your life until you shift, until you realize what the truth is. And the truth is, like we said, like Barbie said at the beginning, being happy and joyful and abundant. Like, there are people that are living a happy, joyful, abundant, amazing life right now. And then you have a bunch of people that are living in fear and scared. And like, so it's a choice.
It is.
It's just a choice. So if you want to live like that, great. That's your choice. However, if you don't like that, you have the ability to choose not that. So whatever that is, choose the opposite. I wrote in my book, and I believe this was probably my defining moment in my life. When I was 11 years old, my mom finally moved away from that guy, right? So he went to work one morning. We loaded up all of our stuff in the back of a car, and a moving van came, and we left from California all the way to Houston. And I remember the first summer I was in Houston, I was 11 years old. It's 105 degrees, dead of summer. I'm by myself. I'm on a teeter-totter, and I don't know why this happened. I do now know why, because I had to put it in my book. But at the time, I didn't know why it would happen. I literally stood right on the middle of the teeter-totter. So you're standing where you're trying to balance it by yourself, right?
Yeah.
And I looked up at the heavens, and I said, for the rest of my life, I'm going to choose happiness. And I didn't know what that looked like, because for 11 years of my life, I was unhappy. But I did know what unhappiness felt like. So whatever the complete opposite of what I felt like was, that's what I was going to choose. And my whole life has been in the pursuit of happiness. And now it's shifted into the pursuit of love, doing what I love, which is doing stuff like this. So for those that are struggling with something, like a thought, a feeling, an emotion, a lack of belief, make a choice right now. Take a deep breath and go, I'm going to choose whatever the opposite of that is. And that's where you spend the rest of your life, chasing that. Not that, but chasing that. And you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Beautiful. Sometimes I wonder, as I go back and cut, which clip am I going to cut out? Right there. That's the mic drop. That's the mic drop. That's beautiful. I got the shivers from that story. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's we have the ability, no matter what age we are, at 11 years old, for whatever reason, like that. That was my defining moment. And it was crazy, because every job, every relationship, everything that I did, if I walked into a room that was not happy, guess what Tony did? Tony left the room, right? You know what I'm saying? So like, I was so in tune with this feeling of what I grew up with as a kid, that whatever that was, if it was a voice, if it was the job application, if it was, if anything brought that feeling of when I was a kid, I would just do the opposite. I would just leave. I would just do something else. And as soon as I did that, all of a sudden there was this whole beautiful world right there.
Right.
And I go, oh, that was cool. And so then my body got conditioned to spend time in happy time, And so whatever that is, I wake up in the morning, and whatever I'm doing that day, I know that it brings me happiness. And if something feels weird, like when Facebook was just being stupid, all this noise, I just said, this does not am I honoring myself right now? Am I truly happy going on wanting to post something beautiful to people and getting blasted? So I made the choice for happiness, and that was to remove myself from Facebook.
I love it. That's the compass right there that so many people need to listen to what you're saying. It's like, because so many people they stay somewhere even though it's not making them happy, and just have that compass of, does this make me happy? Am I happy to be here? Or is it bringing me down? And then you can leave. Yeah,
or your job, it's like, if you're unhappy with your job because you got treated a certain way, so you have to ask yourself, using your superpower, what do I need to do right now so that this doesn't happen again? Well, I'm not going to let my boss talk to me like that. So what are you going to do? Schedule maybe a talk with your boss. Hey, Jason, can I talk to you for a second? Look, the last time you talked to me, I don't know what's going on in your world. I don't know, but I appreciate not to be talked like that. And if he continues to do that, then you get to make another choice, which is bye-bye. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We have to be able to honor ourselves at the highest and deepest level, that when something comes into our space, crosses a boundary, that we can speak our truth and know that whatever happens after that, the universe, God, whatever you believe, is going to take care of it in a way that we're not that good to go, well, if I say this to him, here's what's going to happen. No, let everything kind of happen the way it's supposed to. But if everybody just spoke their truth from an authentic heart,
yeah,
crazy what happens. Hey, look, I get you having a bad day and you're yelling at me, but in the future, if there's any other thing you can do, and I tell you something, I'm telling you this because I love you. If there's any other way you can come at me to express your opinion, I'd greatly appreciate it. Now, what? I'm sorry, Tony. What's going on in my house? My wife has got, oh, it's nothing to do with me in most cases.
Nothing to do with you. Yeah.
Nothing.
Yep.
But I've got to speak my truth. Like Barbara said, I got to speak up. I got to speak my voice. I got to,
yeah.
With love though. Not being a jerk, but like with love, like, hey, whoa, hey, I get something's going on. There's a miscommunication, something. Here's what I'm feeling. All right. You're right. I got something going on. My kid's been home for 5 days. All he plays is video games. And I saw you on your cell phone. It reminded me of my son playing a video game, and I got pissed off. It's like, so I came at you, guns a-blazing. My bad. I'm sorry. It won't happen again.
I think what you're saying is comes home to the beginning when we talked about it takes taking action. Yeah. Most people will voice their opinion, how that made them feel, how a rough conversation made them feel, but to all the people that can't make a difference. They'll tell their friend, their wife, whoever will listen to them, their coworkers, but they won't tell the person that the only person that can change it or make a difference.
It's crazy. I hate my job. You're not gonna believe what my boss said to me today. It's all that, like, really?
What have you told him?
What'd you say to him? Yeah, what'd you tell him? Nothing.
Nothing. I'm telling you.
You've been telling me that every time we have dinner every night, you keep saying the same thing, honey. Like, what are you gonna do about it? Talk to him.
Yeah. What are you doing to change it?
Yeah.
Either yourself or him.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do to change the situation?
And you're gonna teach him a lesson. He's gonna learn something by you honoring yourself at the highest and deep. He's going to learn something. And maybe that one thing you say to him is going to go, you know what? I've probably been doing this a lot, haven't I? Like, I probably did this to Mary yesterday and Dave. And maybe that person needs to now go read my book, How to Give Birth to a Condor.
This is one of those conversations we could easily go 2 hours. With that said, how can people contact you, Tony?
I'm really easy. Yeah, just TonyLucero.com. You just go to TonyLucero.com. I have a new website that's up. You can go there. You can see who I am, and then all my social media is on there, and you can send me a message. And whatever you need, I'm here. I mean, guys, I'm here. I know when I turned 50, which was 5 years ago, like, I'm here to provide wisdom and guidance and teaching, and to serve. So if you're one of those people that is looking for somebody to help and guide and teach and serve, then just reach out to me, and I'll talk to you. And if I can't help you, then I'll find somebody like a Barbara or Jason or somebody that can help you. So there's plenty of goodness to go around for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you have any other words, Barbara? I'm speechless. This has been an incredible
That's why I wanted Tony on. It was like, this is great. Yeah. So
I'll say something. I'm going to say something. Okay. All right. I just want to, first of all, I want to honor you guys for the work that you're doing, doing podcasts and scheduling time. Our most valuable commodity that we all have is time. We don't know how much we have of it. So I honor both of you for knowing what your gift is and spending your time behind the scenes and editing and splicing and creating, doing all that so that people can feel something different. And they can plug into you guys. So I want to honor you for that. But I also want to honor everybody that's watching this right now. Like, you guys, you have more power and control than you possibly know. And if you would just say this, okay, so forget the 5-year plan, the 10-year plan, by this time in 2025, I'm going to be this. Like, put all that aside. Here's all I want you to do. I just want you to wake up every day a better version of yourself. That's it. So today, whatever happened today, great. But tomorrow when you wake up, your goal is just to be a better version of you than you were today. That's it. You do that. You got 365% growth. Show me a business right now that has 365% growth. Show me one. That's what I thought. Okay. Make your business your isness. All right. I'm out.
I love that. I love your energy. All right. We will see you guys all next week. And I don't. Somebody's got to top this. Who's top? Who's our guest next week? They got big shoes to fill next.
We have got, and he is a speaker and he teaches people how to speak, and he's really into how to get people over sales fear.
Amazing.
Good.
What's his name? What's his name? Is this?
And his name is Marty Wilkinson.
Marty. Yes,
Marty.
and he has the book about lions, and so
and he has a book about lions.
All right.
There you
All
go.
right. So we'll have another great guest. But Tony, amazing.
Oh.
Thank you so much for your time.
So
Thank you, guys.
this is the Everyday Riches Show. Have a great one.
All right.